This is the maths homework for Mr. Reed's Year 7 maths group. You'll notice that the deadline is Friday. I'm setting this on the Sunday, so you've got a whole week to get this done and get it handed in. That's your final deadline. So please make sure you come and see me if you are stuck before this deadline. The other thing I want to point out, as it's the first time we've done this on YouTube, it says down here that it's best viewed in 720p, 1080p. By that I mean, if you are struggling to read the text, what you need to do is just go into the settings on YouTube and just see if you can go to HD, and you might find it slightly easier to view. That's particularly the case if you're viewing it on a little phone and the screen's a bit small. Right, so if we actually look at the homework, basically all I need you to do is look at each question, press pause, answer it in your maths book with full working out, and then move on to the next question and do them all. Right, so let's go on to the first page. So I've got quite a lot going on this first page. You'll be learning in class with either of your maths teachers about types of numbers over the next week or so. So we're going to start off with some fairly simple questions on that. Question 1, I just want you to write down the first 10 prime numbers. And with any of this homework, it's absolutely fine, if you are stuck, to go onto Google and just find out about it. Just do a little bit of research and see if you can work out what prime numbers are if you've forgotten. So that's question 1. Question 2, I mentioned a little bit here about square numbers, and then I've asked you for the 7th square number. I want you just to write that down. Question 3, I want you to write out the first 5 cube numbers, and again, if you're not sure what cube numbers are, feel free to look it up, Google it. And then question 4, we've got these special triangle numbers. We've got the first triangle, number 1, the second one's 3, the third one's 6, and hopefully these diagrams will make it obvious why that's the case. I'd like you to write down, and feel free to draw diagrams if you want, I want you to write down the next 3 of those triangle numbers. Right, on to the next page. Again, still working with types of numbers. Question 5, I want you to write out the first 6 multiples of 12. Question 6, I want all of the factors of 36. Now 36 does have quite a lot of factors, so I've suggested you write them down in pairs like this, so 1 and 36, etc. So write them all down, and hopefully if you write them in pairs, it'll be easier to keep track that you've got all of them. Question 7. Now, I've been talking about types of numbers on this homework, and here's some types. Odd and even, prime and not prime, square, cube, triangle, these are all types of number. Positive and negative numbers. Now this question 7 is about you going on the internet and trying to find some other types of numbers. I've said research on the internet and find a different type of number. So not these here, but find your own. See if you can find some other types of numbers. You can write about more than one if you want, and your job is to just explain a little bit about a different type of number that you found out about. So it's a little research task there. It should take you about 5 minutes, that. On to the next page. Now I do actually want you to copy this grid of numbers neatly into your book here, because what we're going to do is actually circle all of the prime numbers. Now if I was to start, you should know that 2 is a prime number, and you should know that 3 is a prime number, etc. I'd like you to continue all the way through this list of numbers, circling all of them, and that will hopefully help you realise which prime numbers you need to memorise. Question 9. Now I have said on the previous page that numbers can be either prime or not prime, but there's a posh name for not prime. I'd like you to try and find out what that is. What's a special name for a number that isn't prime? I think there's a few more questions if we move on to the next page. Right, this is actually the last question now, and it's very important that you listen to the instructions on this one. Now, I've got 3 shops, shop A, B and C, and it's up to you to try and work out which shop is offering the best deal. Now in doing so, I do not want you just to write simply the name of the shop, shop A, B or C. I would like you to actually show some working out. So when you are trying to decide which of these shops is, in quotes, the best, make sure you do a calculation for each shop and write it down, and then decide which one's the best. And you'll have a little sentence at the end. Let's say you decided shop C was the best. You could say, you can see from my calculations that shop C is the best. So please show working out for each shop on that question. Right, that's it. Hopefully you found that fairly straightforward. Please make sure that you come to see me ahead of the deadline if you've had any problems with this homework, and I will point you in the right direction to help you out. That's it.